It has been a meme for quite some time now about how Mexico is represented in movies with the yellow filter, desert, and narcos. While some of those things might be true to some degree, if you're a foreigner that has never known about Mexico or just know Mexico City or Cancun, I think Guadalajara, which is my hometown, might be the perfect city to show you how people live in here, how are the Mexican cities actually like, and what you can expect if you ever come here. Starting with one of the most iconic neighborhoods in here, which is Colonia Americana. Oh, it's right behind me. You see that transition? This neighborhood is one of the most touristy neighborhoods in Guadalajara. I want to talk about the topic of security, and I'm using this neighborhood right behind me as an example of some of the areas in Mexico that security might be a nuance, in the sense of, sure, there's absolutely no problem if I walk down this avenue during the day. However, at night, you don't necessarily have to be in danger or anything, but I have known firsthand of people having problems with car theft, for example, on some of the small streets across this neighborhood, and some pickpocketing from now and then. Nothing crazy, but this is what I mean about Mexico. Your experience on the country really depends on where you are, and that goes as far as security, as far as the architecture you may see, and the prices that you see on the street. There's an ambulance going right there. Hopefully that brother is okay. Who knows, maybe you even have a vision of Mexico where we're at war every time, but that's not the case. There are plenty of other neighborhoods across the city where like you're perfectly fine if you're walking during the day, even at nights. At the end of the day, it's just being aware a bit more of your context and your surroundings that you would be in some other parts of the world, such as Europe maybe, or even Canada. When someone from Mexico tells you that he's gonna be at one specific place at one specific time, never trust that guy, never. In Mexico, we never tend to be on time anywhere where we go. If we say we're gonna be at a specific time, more often than not, we tend to be a bit more late. I mean, that of course depends on the people and the person. I'm not saying that everyone is late always, all the time, but more often than not, for gatherings with friends, just Mexicans tend to be more chill about life in general, and for some reasons, we just tend to be a bit more late. Mexico is cheap. We may hear that sometimes now and then that, Latin America, since it's a third world country, it might be cheaper than some other places in the world. It is, to some degree, but in different parts of the city, you can encounter different prices. There are, of course, some street markets where you can find the most cheap prices regarding food or clothes. Also, if you go to different places, such as an expensive neighborhood, to some malls. So as you can see in Mexico, depending on where you are, is mostly how you will experience Mexico overall. From being cheap to being more secure. On the north side of Mexico, you will find culture influenced by the Americans. On the south part, you will find the most touristy areas of Mexico, such as Cancun, the jungle, nature, and some of the prices that are for foreigners, of course. In some of the parts in the south part of Mexico, you even find some prices in dollars. Mexicans normally are more happy and tend to like party way too much. Just like the guy that I have right behind me. I mean, he's the perfect example of someone that is happy just in the street dancing. Probably it's his business. There's this misconception that foreigners are not accepted in Mexico, partly for the reason of the United States not being too open to foreigners. But in Mexico, you will find that more often than not, people is warm and they like to dance a lot, they like to party a lot. And if that's not your thing, of course, there are plenty of other things that you can do, such as I don't know, like many things regarding culture and museums and other street activities. But in here, for example, in Guadalajara, there's even a street where every Monday and Tuesdays there are dance classes. ¿Usted es el fundador de las batallas de Aura?
¿De qué?
De las batallas de Aura.
Soy el mejor bailarín, yo creo.
¿Sí?
Sí.
O sea, ¿tú crees que en unas batallas de Aura usted ganaría?
Sí.
He's showing his dance moves. Ah, ya se me acabó la rola. Más la cintura, así, así. Le gané, jefe, ¿qué pasó? Bien, bien ahí. Le sabe, carnal. Mexicans only eat tacos. It's funny because yes, almost in every corner on the street, you will find tacos. But that's not necessarily true. Of course, in Mexico, there's plenty of more food such as enchiladas, tortas ahogadas, pozoles, guaraches. I mean, you name it. There are many of different dishes that you may find. In my personal opinion, Mexican food is my favorite food. I mean, I also like sushi, pizza, what most people like, ramen, burgers. But whenever I'm outside Mexico, I kind of struggle eating every day because I always have this craving of coming back for some tacos, some enchiladas, some tortas ahogadas. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. We do eat a lot of tacos, but that at the end of the day comes to the personal preference that you may have on yourself. Most of the time you will find the best food on the street. Street food markets are the best places where you will find the best food and the best prices. Also, part of our landscapes are these things, which are cables. You know, you will find a lot of cables across the streets, which if you want to take your Instagram aesthetic picture, you know, you want to take a picture with the church right behind you, just like this one, or I don't know, like you're just walking down the street and you see a nice sunset. Most often than not, these cables are a bit of a headache because you cannot really take a nice aesthetic picture. Mexico was colonized by the Spanish, and the architecture that you may find in the old areas of Mexico are either churches or Spanish-like architecture in some of the houses on the center, downtown area of the cities. Although I wouldn't consider Spanish to be the most difficult language out there. There are many languages that are super hard, like, I don't know, Finnish or Chinese, Japanese. Spanish, although it's kind of like it's kind of hard depending on which language you come from. What I would say about Spanish and Mexico in general is this word about slangs. We have many words referring many different things that are only spoken in Mexico, just like many other words that are used in different countries across Latin America for their own terms and their own meanings in that specific country. If you don't know much about the Latin American culture or Mexican culture, that could be a throw-off at the beginning. Mostly because we use a lot of different words, even though you may know Spanish. In Mexico, if you're talking to a local and he uses a lot of slangs, well, maybe you wouldn't understand that person that much, you know? Like, if you already know some slangs, they're gonna get you far on making new friends on here on Mexico. So keep it in mind. This is my first video that I'm doing in this channel. This channel is gonna be more about exploring different places in Mexico and Latin America. Eventually, maybe sometime in other parts of the world. If you wanna watch more content in Spanish, I leave you here a link. We have already visited a lot of places in this channel, so you can just watch this channel.